Good morning, Ma'am Elia, and good morning, classmates. I am Brian Bennett Diatensya, and my journal article report about reading for this morning is entitled, Does Memory Contribute to Reading Comprehension in Adults Who Struggle with Reading? A research by Amani Talwar, Daphne Greenberg, and Hongli. This was first published last 29th of August 2018. This study explored the relations between the reading comprehension and two memory capacities, the short-term memory or STM and the working memory or WM for adults who read between the 3rd and the 8th grade levels. Let's have a quick discussion. What is reading comprehension, short-term memory, and working memory? Reading comprehension is the ability to process text, understand its meaning, and to integrate it with what the reader already knows. And I would also provide to you some fundamental skills which are required in efficient reading comprehension. These are the following: knowing meaning of words, ability to understand the meaning of a word from discourse context, ability to follow organization of passage and to identify antecedents and references in it, ability to draw inferences from a passage about its contents, ability to identify the main thought of a passage, ability to answer questions answered in a passage, ability to recognize the literary devices or propositional structure used in passage and determine its tone, to understand the situational moods, including the agents, objects, temporal and spatial reference points, casual and intentional inflections, conveyed for assertions, questioning, commanding, refraining, and finally, ability to determine writer's purpose, intent, and the point of view, and draw inferences about the writer, which sometimes we know as the discourse semantics. Now let's go and talk about what is short-term memory or STM. Short-term memory or primary or active memory is the capacity for holding but not manipulating a small amount of information in mind in an active, readily available state for a short period of time. And last but not the least, what is a working memory or WM? The part of a short-term memory that is concerned with immediate conscious, perceptual, and linguistic processing. Or sometimes, when it comes to computer terminologies, working memory is an area of a high-speed memory used to store programs or data currently in use. The researchers have used 407 adults from 2 countries, and from that, they've computed correlations among measures and conducted hierarchical regressions and commonality analysis for reading comprehensions. Reading comprehension had moderate positive correlations with STM and WM according to the research findings. STM or the short-term memory and WM or the working memory jointly accounted for approximately 19% of the reading comprehension variance and uniquely contributed approximately 4% and 7% of the variance respectively. The predictive utility of memory to reading comprehension was greatly reduced after controlling for the following: number 1, age; number 2, word reading; number 3, fluency; and number 4, oral vocabulary. Working memory or WM appears to be a slightly stronger predictor of reading comprehension than STM for struggling adult readers. As we all know, as we grow old, our memory is being affected. The short-term memory is one of that parts. That's why the working memory has the slight advantage on it. Because from the word itself, working, the memory on that part is being utilized most of the time. The overall contributions of memory capacities to reading comprehension are much smaller than those of the reading-related skills. And according to the researchers, what is already known about their topic? First, working memory, or the WM, and to a lesser extent, short-term memory, or STM, have been examined as predictors of reading comprehension, mostly in studies with children and undergraduates. So WM and STM is usually part of some studies about children and undergraduates. Second, there is a dearth of research on the contributions of STM and WM to reading comprehension in adults who struggle with reading, a population that includes approximately 1 in 6 adults in the United Kingdom, United States, and Canada. What this paper adds. So according to the researchers, there are 3 things that this paper adds to the existing idea about this research. The first one is this study contributes to the burgeoning research on the cognitive skills of struggling adult readers, specifically adding to the literature on the relations between memory capacity and reading comprehension. Second, this is the first study to investigate the joint and unique contributions of STM and WM to reading comprehension in this population. And third, this study also examines the predictive utility of the short-term memory and the working memory for reading comprehension in the context of well-established predictors of reading comprehension. And this includes word reading, fluency, and oral vocabulary. The implications for theory, policy, or practice of this research. For adults who read between the 3rd and the 8th grade levels, the relations between the memory and reading comprehension are not very strong in the presence of other predictors. Future research should investigate whether these relations are mediated by oral language skills, as suggested by the previous findings. And last, before we end this report, my source came from the Wiley Online Library under the Journal of Research in Reading. So once again, this is Brian Bennett D. Atencia. Thank you so much for listening to my report.